This is about calm, confident parenting. And let me tell you, friends, this workshop is going to cover 3 days to get you there. And this is not about just breathing. This is not another workshop on how to just be more patient yourself. What I see in parents more often is that they are not feeling calm and confident because they don't have strategies that are effective. And being the amazing, powerful person that you are, when you have things not working, it is frustrating. It is upsetting. It gets you feeling overwhelmed and out of control. So I want you to stop feeling any sort of shame or blame about that and step into some more effective strategies, some mindset shifts that are going to get you that calm confidence. So just a few logistics here to make sure you know. First of all, if you'd like to share this video after seeing it, or you'd like to be able to view one that you missed during the week, you can easily do that by going to sustainableparenting.com/workshop. All of the replays will be posted there, and I'll be hosting a bonus session on Thursday night at 8:15 if you have follow-up questions and you want to be able to talk live. Secondly, I want to encourage you to show up. I know it takes a lot to be here, to put the effort in. And I mean, it did for me this morning. I was up at 4 a.m. with my daughter, sick, throwing up. She's staying home from school. Luckily, my husband's home today helping. But, you know, I'll be juggling her and the workshop tomorrow. And so I know it takes a lot for you to be here. Whatever happened before landing here in this space, I want to reward you for that. So I'm going to do some drawings tomorrow for some free Starbucks coffee cards to reward you. And third of all, I really want this to be interactive, and I am ready to meet you where you are at. So there's going to be an action step at the end of each day, and it involves messaging me. And I just want you to know that I'm ready to meet you wherever you are at with that. If you're like, that's not what I need, I just want to kind of listen and move on, that's totally fine. If you're like, I've got questions, I want to dig in here, I want to use access to a sustainable or to a parenting coach who's been doing this for 10 years, then let's do it. Message me. I'm ready to meet you with whatever you bring to that conversation this week. You can either email me or personal message me for that. So let's dive in. This is really, really amazing to see. There's so many parents here I see loading up in the Facebook chat and in the Zoom group here. It's so encouraging to be in this space. It always just like makes my heart burst because I get to be with amazing people like you. You are here because you obviously care deeply about children and about parenting. And I know there's a variety of different people here. We have folks who are corporate executives. We have folks who are parents, stay-at-home parents, working parents, part-time working. We have parents, or we have folks here that are educators. We have folks here I know who signed up who are Montessori school owners. We have folks here who are also parenting coaches. So I'm so excited that all of you are here. And it's just like great to be in the room with people who care so deeply about children. Secondly, what I'm guessing is probably true about you is that you're here for the Calm Confident workshop because you want either for yourself or for someone that you care about for there to be a change because something has not been quite what you imagined it would be. And boy, have I been there. I am going to share a story with you in a little bit about when I was I now have a 6 and 8-year-old, and I'm going to share with you one of my most embarrassing parenting moments, which happened, of course, in front of about 40 other parents. Very, very humiliating and overwhelming. I'm going to tell you that story. So you're here because you care deeply about parenting, and either for yourself or someone you care about, it's not been going how you imagine. Thirdly, I am guessing you're specifically here on day 1 where we're trying to talk about parenting smarter, not harder, because you're the type of person, whether you're a corporate exec, parent, stay-at-home mom, or educator, who does not have time or energy to lose, right? You are someone who values time as money or time as energy, and you care deeply about this, but you don't have time to lose. You want to be able to do it as best as you can, as effective as you can, to save that time and money and energy, right? To save your time and energy, because time equals money, time equals energy. Am I right about all of these three things, that you are here for those three reasons? You care deeply about children. Somehow it has not been going how you wished, or someone in your life, it's not going how they wished. And you need strategies that will save you time and energy, because you do not have that to waste. Would you give me an emoji or a word if that lines up for you and what brought you here? Yes, I see it. All right. Yes, Angela says, I need some tools for the toolbox. That is absolutely what I'm going to give you today and in this 3 days. Okay, so let's dive in. Let's make this move. Let's get you there. We're going to have a short 20 minutes to really get you a solid foundation. So I want to tell you the story of when I was not parenting smarter, and I was making it way harder, and it was causing me so much grief and overwhelm. I can remember it like it's happening to me right now. I walk into swim lessons with my 3-year-old son, and I feel the sunshine on my back. I'm excited to be there with him. He loves the water. We both got our swimsuits on, but this is a class he's going to do for the first time on his own. So we sit on the edge of the pool, we splash around a little bit, and then the teacher comes over, other students come over. This is the type of setting at Bogart Park here in Bozeman, where all the parents and kids are kind of around one square. The kids are sitting on the edge waiting for their teachers, and the parents are pretty much all sitting or standing somewhere behind the kids watching. And as I'm sitting there, the teacher comes over, students come over, and it's like, okay, Caleb, time for me to go. And I start to walk away, and he goes ballistic. I thought we had set the stage for success, but out of nowhere, he is clinging to me for dear life. He is screaming in my ear, making my cheeks just turn red with embarrassment as I feel every single eyeball around that pool staring at me, judging me, wondering what I'm going to do. He's pulling at my swimsuit, and I'm like embarrassed it's going to be pulled in a weird way. He is clawing at my skin. And with every moment this goes on, my blood is just boiling with embarrassment. I'm like shaking just remembering it. I'm just livid. I am angry. I feel overwhelmed. I feel like confused. Where did this come from? I feel out of control. I feel like I'm going to lose my temper. And so I start bouncing between like, oh my gosh, come on, can we just make it better? Let's try this, let's try that. Then over to, okay, if you do not stop and get it together, I am going to do this like awful thing, and you're going to lose this thing and that thing. And then I feel bad, and I'm back over to trying to soothe him. And it goes on and it goes on. And I am so embarrassed and frustrated, and pretty much very much the opposite of calm and confident. Can you relate? The last time you were in a moment like that, whether it was at home or it was in public, it was in front of your in-laws, what were you feeling? Either write it in your workbook or drop it in the comments here. What were some of your feelings? In that place, I decided something has got to change. And in that moment, I chose to listen finally to something in my gut that had been speaking to me since my son was born, but I had felt like I couldn't quite listen to. And that was this voice that said, maybe instead of bouncing between kind and firm, I could find a road that was both kind and firm, that would feel effective, that would feel kind of what I call compassionately powerful. And I started to create the steps that are now my regular recipe. I call it, I have an acronym, the CEO steps, that really are a recipe that work in virtually every parenting situation I coach parents through, and that I experience myself with my 6 and 8-year-old now. And it got me to a better place. With my son, I'm going to share with you how I used those tools and was able to have him cry for only 30 seconds and then totally thrive in that swim class. I wish I could say that I did it like the next day, but I didn't. It took me like 5 or 6 times of all of that struggle and suffering before it dawned on me I wanted to really quit wasting time in these ineffective strategies. And so I finally got onto that road, and it took me 3 years to really hone in what I now share with parents to save them the time and energy so they can get right to it. So I'm going to be sharing those with you in these 3 days. The first step that helps parents that I work with to dramatically shift how they feel in parenting, to get to that calm confidence, instead of all the words you just wrote, unappreciated, exhausted, defeated. The way that I see parents getting there is by starting with letting go of the 3 common mistakes that parents make that keep them stuck in that place that is not working, to keep them stuck with strategies that leave them powerless and defeated and overwhelmed. So let's get into these common mistakes, because my call to you today is going to be to let go of those as the first step that's going to move you forward. So then you can grab onto what I'm going to give you tomorrow to move forward. The 3 common mistakes that I see most often leading parents to stay stuck in their struggle, to stay stuck in overwhelm, are these: parenting from the neck up, parenting like a pinball, and asking the wrong questions. I was doing all 3 of those things in my situation with Caleb. Parenting from the neck up, parenting like a pinball, and asking the wrong questions. Here's what I mean. If you are in a place of parenting from the neck up, you've likely found yourself saying things like, I just don't know why he's not getting it. I tell him all the time what needs to change. I tell him why it's important to be nicer to his sister, and he goes right over and does the thing anyways. I'll tell her to calm down, and she doesn't. I explain why this is not acceptable behavior. He doesn't seem to care. Or it just seems like they don't listen unless I raise my voice. They don't listen unless I'm yelling. Does any of that sound familiar? If it does, friends, I was there in that moment too. It's that we are being cerebral. We are approaching human interaction, human emotion, human behavior shifts that are needed from the neck up. And that is only a small part of who we are as people, and especially for our kids, 0 to 7, when they are growing and testing and so primed to be cause and effect learners, that we need to start parenting from the neck down. The reason it's not working is you're only using one tool, the talking, the thinking, and sometimes that part of the brain, frankly, is not in the picture. Something I teach parents about the brain in the palm of your hand and how the brain can be in this like thinking, reasoning place. It also can be an emotional place of resistance or feeling or upset. And it can be in a super flipped lid place of like losing it. And if we are trying to talk logically to the brain that is in that emotional or flipped lid place, it doesn't work. It's like trying to put a screw in the wall with a hammer. And you're like, why is this not working? It's not an effective tool in that moment. So the first mistake to consider is, have I been parenting from the neck up, mostly talking, and it's not working in so many moments? The second error that might be keeping you caught not parenting smarter is that you're using strategies like a pinball. And again, I was there as well. Strategies like a pinball. Think of a pinball machine. I may be dating myself here, but when I was a kid, my uncle had a pinball machine, and it's those machines, kind of like an old school video game where you have these two buttons you hit on the side and it shoots the ball all around. Sometimes when you push those buttons, it makes a twirly thing go, and sometimes it makes levers flip. But the whole goal is you're trying to keep the ball from falling through the middle into like the crevice. And so I see a lot of parents, and I was certainly in this place, grabbing at ideas from, Pinterest, over here from a blog, over here from Instagram. And they're like, that's such a good idea. Oh yeah, I'm going to try this over here. I'm going to try that. And all the while, though, when you're really in the moment, it can feel like you're just pushing buttons and hoping it does the twirly thing or does the flippy thing. But like largely you feel very controlled by wherever the ball's going to go. You don't feel to be the one really guiding what is happening in this process. It feels like you're grabbing at tools here and there without having a single strategy that you can really master and feel solidly founded on, and then be able to feel really confident with it. If that's been true for you, you're probably the person who's saying to friends or to your partner often, like, I heard this new great idea, but then you're like, but it didn't work with my kid. Is something wrong with my kid? Is something wrong with me? Maybe I'm not the type of parent that can learn to do this kind of stuff. And I want to say that is so not true. Everyone is the type of parent that can learn these strategies that are more effective. But if you're bouncing here, grabbing it from all these other places, it's not an aligned process that is always going to work. That's why I've built my formula to be CEO, super easy acronym to use, to remember, and then be able to fit. There's about 10 strategies in each one of those areas that I guide parents in. And with those, then you're able to like remember, okay, I start with C, then I go to E, then I go to O, and it works every time. So I can keep mastering it and feel like I'm growing, like I'm learning, like I'm getting better at it, as opposed to, I tried that, it didn't work, over here, over there, over there. So has that been the mistake that you are noticing has been holding you back, keeping you stuck in all the feelings that are not calm and confident? So we have that it could be that you are parenting from the neck up, only using one major tool when there are so many others, or that you are parenting like a pinball machine. Third thing is, are you asking the wrong questions? When I talk about asking the wrong questions, boy, was I doing that with Caleb. I was in this place of saying, why are you doing this? Why can't you be like all the rest of the kids in this class? Like literally felt like every other student in that pool, no matter their age, was excited to be there and happy. And so I'm like, what is wrong with my kid? Why won't they listen? Why don't they seem to care about consequences? Why does he have to have such big emotions that seem out of proportion? And then I get to thinking, I'm just like frustrated with him. I want him to be different. And that's where we end up being with most of our ineffective questions. When we're asking the wrong questions, it's because we're pointing them at the child. And the fact of the matter is there are two people in this equation, and one of them has a much more developed frontal lobe and hopefully emotion management skills and teaching skills, and that's us. So I'm going to ask you to do something really different in this process today, and tomorrow's tools especially are going to be to look at ourselves. And it can be revolutionary. Like, well, no, I just want my child to do what I say. And we end up in that why place because we want them to essentially let go of their power. I want you to do it because I am the parent. I want you to do it because you realize why this is not okay and how it affects everyone else in your life. I want you to do it because this is silly and crying is ridiculous right now. So I want you to just let go of everything that you're feeling, let go of your sense of power, do this for everyone else. That's what I'm asking them to do when I'm focused on them. And the why are you being this way? Why can't you? So the alternative, friends, is what I'm going to give you tomorrow is a strategy that involves two main pieces. First of all, we do not negotiate with terrorists. And I love children. I love my children. I'm sure if I met your children, I would just love them and see them as so adorable and wonderful. And they can cause us to feel a lack of calm and confidence because they kind of feel like terrorists. They're pressuring us. They are begging. Their emotions are so big. They're so angry. We are not going to negotiate with terrorists. And secondly, I am going to give you the strategies to give that terrorists power in two very specific ways that make it so they feel like they are winning and we feel like we are winning, that they are going to be more cooperative. They are going to be more willing to calm their emotions. And we are going to feel so much better because it's working, it's effective. So join me tomorrow. Today, what I want you to do, your homework, is to think about the 3 mistakes that I just labeled and reflect on how much time has been wasted feeling frustrated at yourself or your child because you were stuck with one of those 3 key mistakes, or maybe a few of them. Parenting from the neck up, parenting like a pinball machine, or asking the wrong questions. And what I want you to do is to message me. What are you realizing? What is becoming apparent to you? And send it to me in Messenger. So I want you to message me, and it says in your workbook to message with, I'm realizing ... And whichever of those 3 mistakes you are realizing today that you're ready to let go of so that you can move into more effective strategies where you're asking the right questions that I'm going to give you tomorrow, that you are asking, that you are parenting with a singularity process, or that you're ready to get into parenting in different strategies than just talking because you want it to really work. You want it to be more effective. Message that to me, and I am going to give you a strategy that can align with that thing that you're realizing is your key place to start parenting smarter, not harder. All right, friends, see you back here tomorrow where we will dive into the steps for not negotiating with terrorists and how we give that terrorist power in 2 key ways that ends up being a win-win for both of us. Talk soon.